Hi everyone who is watching this, it's Mel. I'm here to do my top 5 favorite book slash series of 2018. I'm so pumped to make this video because I just read so many good books this year, and I'm just like super excited to gush about them and talk about how much I love them because, you know, it'd be like that sometimes. This list is going to go in like order of like what changed my life the most, I guess. So like I'm gonna like end with like my favorite book of 2018. I'm gonna start with like my 5th favorite book of 2018. You know? Yeah. Okay, cool. The first book on my list, the actually series, is the Sea of Ink and Gold trilogy by Tracy Chee. This is actually like the first book that I reviewed on this channel. The Reader hit it up. So this is the Storyteller. It's the only like physical copy of the trilogy that I have, because I tend to like not buy books unless I know I'm going to enjoy them. So I usually only have like the 2nd or 3rd physical copy of a book, because by then I know, you know, I'm gonna like the series, so I'll buy the book and everything. But usually I read them on ebook and everything. But I had to get the like hardcover copy of the Storyteller because this series just means so much to me. It definitely has its flaws. This is Tracy Chee's like debut series. Like the first book in the series was her debut novel like ever, and so you know it definitely has plot issues and pacing issues, but overall I loved this trilogy so much. Most of that love was because Archer is like this is literally my reader review all over again. It's fine. Archer's like my favorite character of all time. I mean, no, he isn't actually. Like, there's another favorite character of all time that I'm going to talk about in the first, like, my first favorite book of 2018. Yeah, okay. But Archer is one of my favorite characters of all time, and just, like, his character development, starting from, like, who he was at the Reader to who he is in the Storyteller, was so good. Like, he got so much good character development. Like, just watching him grow as a person was such an honor to like be able to read about, honestly. Like, it was just, it touched me so much. And like I just think that Archer is such a good example of a character like overcoming trauma because they still see the goodness in like people and they want to try and let people in again. And like his story in this entire series just like fucks me up so much. Steffi and Archer are in love, and like usually with like with heterosexual romances I'm pretty like hesitant. Like I'm like I don't know, guys. But Steffi and Archer just were the epitome of a healthy couple. Like, just they unconditionally loved each other so much. Their dynamic was so believable, and like they just like cherished each other and would always be there for each other. And I didn't need the book to tell me they were in love to know that they were in love. Like, I've been reading about these bitches since like the first day they fucking met, and like I know that like they're in love. It wasn't just like Tracy told me, like, like they're the main romance of this book, you know. But like I felt that like they were each other's soulmates. Also, really loved the rep in this book. This has a lot of LGBT rep, especially since it's like a high fantasy book. Like, usually with fantasy, it's pretty fucking straight. Like, most YA fantasy is just like love triangles, and like they're all straight love triangles, and it's just like a time. But the Storyteller and like all the books in the series like have a lot of really good LGBT rep. When I say LGBT rep, I don't just mean like there's gay characters and like bi characters. I actually mean like also trans and non-binary characters, which I feel like is kind of like when people tell me like this book's an LGBT plus book, like I'm like, oh, lit, okay. And I'm expecting, you know, some trans and non-binary rep, and it never happened. I'm non-binary, and like there's just like a hella big like trans and non-binary like population obviously in the world, and we never get represented in fantasy, like, ever. But there was like hella named non-binary characters, and there was like a really important secondary character who is like canonically a trans girl, and like just the rep was so good. I just loved the fact that there was trans characters in a fantasy novel, and their whole like story didn't revolve around the fact that they were trans. Like, it was just like one of the things that made them them, and like that was so great. Like, take notes, fantasy authors. Okay, cool. The next book that I want to talk about isn't a book, actually, so I'm kind of breaking my own rules, but I need to talk about this. So it's two short stories, Morgan in the Sun Glare and Morgan in the Shadow by Seth Dickinson. So these are sci-fi LGBT short stories, and they center on this fighter pilot in this like intergalactic war, named Noemi Laporte. Her call sign is like Morgan because she is the pilot of this fighter jet, and she is like in this space war. She falls for her captain, Sims, who is kind of like her like squadron leader. Like, she, you know, goes out and like fights people with Noemi and everything, but you know, like, because like Sims like her captain and everything, and they're on the same like ship, like they can't, you know, like openly be in a relationship together, because like fraternization and everything. Their ship ends up hurtling into a sun, and they are like just kind of slowly going into the sun, and it's basically Noemi looking back on everything about like just her and what makes her her, because like Noemi is like a very skilled like fighter. Like, she has killed a shit ton of people for this war, and she's basically turned into a weapon. And like Sims doesn't want to see her like that. She wants to have Noemi like keep her humanity and like keep what makes her her, and not just sacrifice who she is like for the common good and everything. And it was just such a good study on the ways that like getting exposed to killing and getting exposed to war like changes you, and I love those kinds of stories and everything when characters are like, oh man, I'm a weapon, you know. Like, those are my faves. And so yeah, just like great. Also, lesbians in space, you know I'm gonna like it. Like, love me some lovin' girls in spaceships rep, because I love spaceships and I love girls, and that's just, if you like that. Honestly, the sequel, Morgan in the Shadow, is like so complex. Like, it went completely over my head. I had to reread it like a shit ton of times just to know what was going on, but it was still like a fucking masterpiece. Yeah, I'm gonna drop a link down below because you can read Morgan and Sun Glare like for free, because it's part of the Clark's World magazine, and they get like published on this website. So like, yeah, please go read them. Morgan and Sun Glare is like just one of my favorite things that has ever happened to me. Yeah, okay, moving on to place number 3. So this is going to be the Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. So I know this book is like very heavily hyped, and I am about 2 years late to the party, but like, who fucking cares? I'm here now, bitch. Like, I read both these books. I finished Cricket Kingdom like 2 days ago. Holy shit. I fucking love this duology. Like, this is such a good example of how having multiple main characters works, and like how having character-driven stories works. All of the 6 main characters, get it, 6? Okay. All of the 6 main characters like have equal character development, I feel. Like, it's not like one of them or a couple of them like get lost to the narrative and like just are there for plot advancement. Like, all of the 6 main characters get a shit ton of character development in just like 2 books, and like, that's crazy. Like, Leigh Bardugo really be out here like balancing that many character arcs. Like, it was so well written. Jesper and Wylan are my fucking faves. Literally, Jesper means so much to me. Like, okay, I have like ADHD and I'm a dumbass and I'm hella bi, and like Jesper is an ADHD bi dumbass, and like we just be vibing in that way. And just like Jesper's whole arc about like his addiction and overcoming it and learning to not do those bad habits was like so impactful for me. Like, and just seeing a very heavily ADHD coded character, just like Bia by Disaster, was so good. And like, I love Wyland so much. Like, just his whole arc with like learning to not like think of himself as lesser than his peers for something that's out of his control was so wonderful, and just such a good message to like teenagers who are going through that shit, you know? Like, I just feel like you will find a character in Six of Crows that you will be attached to. That's such a good thing, because all of these characters like learn good things about working through shit and like self-embetterment, and it's just a very very good series. I'm making it sound like really nice and happy. It isn't. Like, a lot of shit goes down, but like just the way that the characters deal with it just sends a lot of really good messages. Leigh Bardugo, this slaps. Thanks, girl. Okay, moving on. Honestly, my number 2 spot and my number 1 spot, like, it was a very hard figuring out which was gonna go in which, and it could have gone both ways, so just wanted to let y'all know. That series is the Wayfarers series by Becky Chambers. This is a Close and Common Orbit. It's the only one that I have right now because I loaned my other copies out to my friends. But like, this whole ass series is so fucking good. So basically, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet is like the first book. This is an adult sci-fi slice of life, like found family, spaceship, like just good times, feel good sci-fi novel, and I loved that. I'm super into sci-fi. It's my favorite genre. I just loved like all of the characters in this book, even Corbin. Like, by the end I was like, all right, Corbin, we chill. There was not one member of the Wayfarers crew that I did not like want to cherish with my whole heart. And like, let me just fucking tell you, you guys, AI characters are my favorite types of characters ever. Like, sign me the fuck up. I love characters who are AI, and like especially AI characters who inhabit spaceships and don't have like physical bodies but are just sort of like conscious spaceships. That's a very like specific trope, but I love it so much. We don't get just one AI in a spaceship character. No, we get 3. We get fucking 3 of them. I love all the AI characters in this series, and that's like why A Close and Common Orbit like really like slapped for me. Like, okay, I loved Jinx and Lovey in The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. Jinx respected Lovey so much. Like, even though she's fully sentient, like, isn't even considered, like, a member of the Galactic Commons, like, isn't considered, like, a sapient, you know, and doesn't have any rights. Like, Jinx has so much respect for her and so much just, like, love for her. Jinx has been on his respecting Lovey juice since day one. He's been slurping the respect Lovey juice. Also, in A Close and Common Orbit, we get the point of view, or not the point of view, but we get Owl, who is like the person that like raised Pepper and everything, and she is an AI in a spaceship. And we also get Sidra, she used to be an AI, but is now in a like robotic form, which is illegal. Like, AIs can't take a humanoid form. They have to be either in like a building or in a spaceship or something, even if they're fully sentient. So it's basically about like Sidra, like, you know, trying to live her damn life, and basically like her transition from being a spaceship and being designed to be in a spaceship to having a body like that, like basically in every way emulates a human body. And like, that was so interesting to watch her, just like all of her little things that she would do. Like, she was most comfortable when she was in the corners of rooms, because like, you know, when she like was a spaceship AI, it was like she would have like little like cameras, you know, like in the corners of like all the different like rooms and everything, and that's how she liked to observe things, because her programming was like, you have to like be on watch and like observe all this stuff, and it's just sort of like a subconscious thing that makes her comfortable when she can just see what's going on everywhere. And when she's walking around in her human body, it's like she has a very strict, like, tunnel view of everything. Like, all that little stuff about, like, what made Sidra comfortable because of the fact that she was programmed to be a spaceship was super interesting, because now we get to see her, you know, like, trying to sort of live a normal sapient life, and, like, seeing how that affects her. And at the start, she was like, fuck, like, put me back in the spaceship, you know? But then she slowly, like, learns how to be comfortable with herself. And it was just, like, such a touching story. Like, I love all of the Wayfarers books, because there is so much good, like, representation in these that we usually don't get to see in sci-fi, which kind of fucking sucks, because it's my favorite genre and I don't really get represented in it, like, at all. But there's so much good representation in these books. Also, there was, like, a canonical, in The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, I won't do spoilers, but, like, there's a canonical polyamorous character. Like, there's basically this whole race of aliens that are, like, polyamorous. And, like, I've never seen polyamorous rep in, like, any book. And, like, for that to be in a sci-fi book, that there was, like, canonical polyamorous people in it, like, that made me so happy. And it wasn't seen as just, like, them being greedy or them, like, sleeping around or whatever. It was just literally, like, they were a race of aliens that, like, understood that they could have romantic feelings for multiple people without having, like, lesser feelings for, like, one of them, you know? Like, there was no just, like, jealousy in that, because they all, like, communicated, like, who they were, like, in a relationship with and everything, and it just, like, worked, like, and, like, that's polyamory. And, like, so it was just really cool to have a polyamorous main character. Like, I have never gotten to see a polyamorous main character before, and it was just, like, it meant so much to me, as a polyamorous person, you know? So, like, yeah, thanks for my fucking life, Becky Chambers. It literally just felt like Becky Chambers was like, alright, like, she sat down to, like, write this series, and she was like, so, I heard this person named Mel likes, LGBT sci-fi rep, spaceship AIs that get human bodies and spaceships and found family. I'm just gonna write a book that settles all of their very specific tropes. And I was like, here for it, 100%. Like, just very good. Very good. Yeah. Alright. Cool. So we are at the number 1 spot in my list. I don't think this is gonna come as a surprise if you're on my Goodreads. Hit up my Goodreads. But my first favorite book of the year, or series, I should say, is the Shades of Magic series by V.E. fucking Schwab. Holy shit. Okay. You know how I said Archer was my favorite character of all time, and then I was like, wait, no, actually, like, that's a lie. My favorite character of all time is coming up, folks. It's Holland. It is Holland. I was a Holland stan since book 1. I have been standing Holland for all 3 books. I really need to make a video about this series, because I have so much to say about it, but basically, Holland is my favorite character of all time, ever, in anything. He's just my favorite of any fictional universe ever. Like, Holland. Like, Holland, I love him so much. He was a very secondary character in, like, Darker Shade of Magic and mostly Gathering of Shadows, but A Conjuring of Light. But then I got to A Conjuring of Light, and it was literally just like, time for Holland's entire backstory. Time for you to cry, Mel. Hey, Mel, this is an at you, because you love Holland so much. Like, time to cry. And I was like, alright, I guess we're out here. The whole conlang that is happening in Arnesian, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but, you know, it was just so well done, like, because, towards the first, like, 2 books, you know, like, a character would say something in Arnesian, and then V. Schwab would give us a little, like, translation, you know, but, they're just kept on, like, having, like, the same phrases pop up, like, you know, like, very, like, normal stuff, like, how are you, you know, and, like, V. Schwab kind of stopped translating it for us kind of as we went into the books, and, like, we started just, like, recognizing words and, like, phrases and everything, and it just, like, added onto the world building so much because I felt like I knew this fucking like little language, because they would be like Mas Bears and I'd be like, I know what that you're saying, my prince, like, and I just felt like such a nerd, but like in a good way. And like it was just so cool because it really like just put you in the world like so well. Like everything about the world building put you in the world so well. I love the fact that V. Schwab creates these really vibrant like worlds that are like super like different. However, like they share similar qualities. So it's not just like making something out of nothing. We have something like tethered to the real world in these worlds that we can like understand, and I think it just like adds to the accessibility of these worlds, and it adds to us being invested in them like right from the bat, you know? And just like I could go on about this series. It is my favorite series of all time, hands down. I love it so much. And it means so much to me. I really like should be saying better things, but I just love it so much. Like Holland. I'ma end it with that. Thank you so much for watching. Read Morgan and the Sun Glare. I'm gonna link it in the description box. Read it, you guys. Like, I need more people to be hyped on this short story because I love it so much. If you love sci-fi and you want some LGBT rep in sci-fi, read Morgan and the Sun Glare. Also, read all the books that I mentioned. I know some of them were, like, pretty mainstream, so, like, I think you've already read them, but, like, if you haven't, get on that shit. Yeah, that is the video. Thanks for watching.